Hey Sad, I'm ready whenever you are, man.
Yeah, sure. Very good afternoon to all of you. So, I'm Sad Nazar from the Interact Club of Isipathana College. Today, I'm here hosting the first segment of Project Evolving Mindset, which is presented by the Interact Clubs of Hemamali Girls School, Kandy, Ave Maria Convent Negombo, Horizon International School, and Isipathana College. So, today, we have a very special guest with us. So, if I had to introduce, I'll say the best public speaker I've ever come across. So may I present to you the guest speaker for today, Mr. Sharan Velauthan. So hi and warm welcomes to you, and thank you so much for joining us today. So yeah, before we start, I'd like to thank you on behalf of all the Interact clubs for accepting our request and spending your precious time with us. So
Thanks for having me, man.
So yeah, the topic for today is anxiety. So if I could ask you, like, before we start into the topic, how have you been with this pandemic and everything?
Thanks for asking, man. So firstly, I'd like to say thank you for having me and hello to everybody here. I'm really glad that Interact clubs such as yours and the other ones hosting these events are talking about issues like this. I think it's a good step in the right direction. So thank you firstly for that. Pandemic has been ups and downs, to be very honest. I was in a good place and then suddenly the pandemic happened and I went through a bad time in terms of depression, anxiety, you name it. I went through it. But now I'm in a much better place. I actually just moved houses today as well with two good people. And yeah, good things happening. How are you? How have you been? What have you been up to during this pandemic?
Yes, so to be honest, before the pandemic, we had a lot of plans. If I talk about Interact, we had plans on projects and everything, but it's honest, to every school and every Interact club, it has been like a real downfall. With the pandemic, you cannot host any physical event, so everything is online. If I could ask you, what is anxiety? If you could explain what is it?
Yeah, man, I think a lot of people have different explanations for it, but what I would like to think of it with my personal experience is anxiety is a feeling of uncertainty. When too many things are going on, too many things out of your control, it's just this heavy sense of stress. It's this heavy sense of everything's out of your control and you start to panic. That is exactly what anxiety is. And different people experience it depending on what triggers them the most. So for me, what triggers me the most is when I'm highly under stress with too much work and too many things to do, and I feel like I am disappointing people. That's when my anxiety kicks in, and it goes into this roller coaster where I feel like I'm not a good enough person. I'm not delivering what I'm supposed to deliver. Etc. experience. So for example, Saad, if you experience only a little bit of anxiety where you feel a little bit of emptiness in your stomach before you go to an exam, that's anxiety. But some people have crippling anxiety where if they are going into a really important business meeting or they're supposed to deliver something and they're just having a straight on breathing problem, panic attacks, that's extreme anxiety attacks and anxiety. So there are different levels to it, but in a nutshell, that's what it is.
So you spoke about, when it comes to anxiety, it's what causes anxiety is your stress and everything, the level of stress you have. So if I could ask you, how could you get out of it, out of anxiety?
So it sometimes is level of stress, but also it could be different things where it could be things where you feel like you're less of a person or you're insecure, or those things can also cause anxiety. So for example, I know a friend who was on his way to watch the movies, and he was standing in line and there was literally nothing that could have caused a trigger for him, but since he was waiting in line with so many people, and since he was just crowded and he felt claustrophobic, he started feeling anxious. He started feeling uneasy. So sometimes it's not exactly like work stress or exam stress. Sometimes it can be just something else completely. So you have to be open to that idea as well. So in terms of getting through it, I wouldn't say get over it. I think we will always be anxious as human beings. I think we will always be anxious in some small way. Man, as soon as I'm trying to cook something, I get anxious, man, that I don't overcook it, or those little things will always happen. But I believe that we just get better at handling it. So for example, if being around crowded places makes you anxious, start small. Start like with 3 people in a crowd, 5 people in a crowd, increase to 8 people in a crowd, and then slowly start expanding your crowd so that your anxiousness levels you would be able to manage it better, right? So it's just about managing expectations and making sure that you're not in a completely uncomfortable position right away. So because imagine a swimming pool, right? If you get pushed into the deep end, you're not going to. Sometimes yes, you naturally can swim, but most of us, if we get pushed into the deep end, we will drown. So we only gradually learn from the shallow end to the deep end. So even with anxiety, it's about talking to people. You cannot, as humans, most of us, because all of us are not geniuses, and like all of us are not Bill Gates or any of that. Even Bill Gates has anxiety. So all of us, it helps for us to talk to someone. So I would really say if you really want to get through it, that even if your parents are against therapy or counseling, talk to your friends, talk to your family members who support you, talk to them about what is making you feel this way. Because it could be a problem in your relationship. It could be that an exam is coming up. It could be that you just feel like you're not good enough for society, or you feel like you're failing all the time. All of these things are very valid thoughts, and the problem in Sri Lanka mainly is that we think that it's not valid, and we think that if we say it makes us weaker, or it makes us less of a person, or your parents will say, you look at Daniel is achieving so much more than you, what are you doing with your life? We're used to hearing those things, right? So I would say always talk to people who can support you through the process, and learn that not everything is in your control all the time. So that kind of helps. But I would also like to stress that your anxiety and my anxiety could be completely the same, but how we deal with it will be completely different. So always acknowledge the fact that what works for me may not necessarily work for you. So that's why I never give tips on my social media. I never explicitly tell people what to do, etc., etc. So yes, try out different things that people are doing online, which helps, but also talk to people that could know you a lot better and guide you as to what you're supposed to do. I'm sorry about the long-winded answers, because you cannot directly answer these questions with one-word answers. I hope it helps.
Yeah. Does anxiety affect your health and health issues? Like, we know that in every human's life, anxiety is like, it plays some role there, maybe in a small level or in a mass scale. So does it affect your health being having these issues?
So Sri Lanka is very good at distinguishing physical health. If you break a bone, you go to get it checked. If you have low sugar, you go get it checked. If you need medication for a headache or migraine, you get it checked. But when it comes to mental health, it's not really focused on as much, because in our South Asian context, only if you break a bone is it valid to go and get yourself checked. But if you have anxiety, if you have panic attacks, and I just want to put a disclaimer out there, these are very heavy topics. So if any of this makes you uncomfortable, feel free to not stay here, because we don't want you to feel uncomfortable. So, and if you feel suicidal or depressed, whatever it may be, there is people who can help you. Maybe you don't need medication. So just FYI, I never took medication for my depression. I just needed to talk to people. I just needed to talk to a therapist who helped me get through it. So I would say definitely it will affect your mental health, especially if you have really, really bad levels of anxiety, where it just creeps up on you. You find it hard to breathe. You find it hard to be around people. All of those things can affect you. So talking to someone can help. And Sri Lanka does have free services. You don't have to pay lump sums of money to get this help. And I would definitely say it would help for sure.
Yeah. So we know that COVID-19 might be stressful for many people, especially for teenagers and everyone. We could say that it's a strong, it's really hard for some people to be at home, locked down and isolated from meeting your friends and everyone. So in this time of period, we know that no one can meet friends, or we can't go to have public gatherings and everything. So you feel lonely, and then like most of the people experience more free time. So you're not that busy, so you feel like stressful and some like those sort of thing. So what do you think, like for students in this sort of situation, what could be your advice?
You will see a lot of people online, especially now with the pandemic. You will see a lot of people online telling you this is the time to be productive and do everything. And look, I call it the politics of self-care, right? So not I call it, Sharan, this incredible activist in Sri Lanka, wrote an article about it. So I'm quoting her, right? And the politics of self-care is basically, self-care has become this big thing where everything has to be productive and you have to do all of these things because we have more time and all of those things. Look, if you don't want to be 100% productive, that's completely fine. Taking a nap is doing things for yourself. Cooking something you like is doing something for yourself. Reading a book is doing something for yourself. So I would say when you have all this time, yes, invest into yourself, do things that will help your portfolio, will help you achieve things like you guys are doing this interact thing during your free time. Amazing. Like when you go for a job interview, you can definitely say we hosted this, it helped this many people, we had this many participants. That's such a good thing to have, right? But the thing is, it doesn't have to be only that. What people don't realize is just because we have extra time doesn't mean we have to be more productive. It really doesn't. Especially for younger generations, when there's so much information with the internet, when there's so many people doing things all the time, they think that, oh, if I don't do enough, I'm not good enough. If I don't be as productive as this person online, I am not good enough. So it's caused this really bad politics of self-care where you think that self-care is being 100% productive. No. Self-care can mean taking a nap. Self-care can mean going for a meal. Self-care can mean doing absolutely nothing and watching TV. But that's not that I'm saying that you should do absolutely nothing 100% of the time. It's about knowing how much you are mentally capable of doing, and how much of breaks you need in between or after. So for me, Saturday, Sunday, normally I don't work at all. I just hang out with my friends, I make memories, I laugh, I have a drink, like all of those things, right? But Monday to Friday, I work really hard, and I make sure that I get the best output. Yes, I have off days. Everybody has off days. Like even this week was an off week for me, but I try to do as much as I possibly can. So to answer your question directly, I would say for anyone who's listening and they think that they have to do everything possible during this time, I would really say no, you don't really have to. If you're capable of doing it, do it. If not, take your time. This is not a sprint, this is a marathon. And as much as everyone is pressurizing you to achieve, trust me, slow down. It's okay.
So I like does anxiety affect studying? Actually, we know that with this pandemic and everything is online, even classes and stuff, everything is online. But exams and stuff, still they used to have it online. So continuously studying, having classes one after the other online in front of the screen all the time, does it cause anxiety?
Yeah, man, absolutely. So my last semester of my master's, so I just finished my master's in August. So my last semester was my master's was completely online, and I hated it. I hated it so much because I was so used to classroom settings. I was so used to being out of the house, and then suddenly I have to study at home. I have to exercise at home. I have to talk to my friends at home. I have to do everything at home. So it just completely confused me, and it was really hard for me to get through it, and it shot up my panic attacks and my anxiety like mad. The first 4 to 5 months of the pandemic were awful for me. So if you are going through that or some level of that, trust me, it is fine to be going through that because everybody else is. But you can work out of it as well. Like what I do is now, if I work, I have my little corner that I call an office. And I'll have to make a new corner now because I'm in a new place, but I have a little section that is for studies. I have another section that I would go and do an exercise. I have another section where I go and read, right? So like if you can section off physically places, it would really help cope with the situation. But if it's still difficult, trust me, you're not alone. I'm in the same boat as you, trying to figure it out. But just try and section off certain places, certain parts of your house in a physical setting. That might help.
Yeah. So we see for students, I mean, especially like teens like us, maybe they are not doing online stuff, maybe not in online classes and everything, but still with the pandemic, do you think being busy, like keep doing things, does it keep you off out of anxiety?
I would say it's a temporary fix. So I did the same thing. I started a live show on Instagram called Going Live for Kindness. And that was my temporary fix. So I spoke to 124 guests in 32 days. So that was almost 6 people every day. And these are not easy conversations. These are very intense conversations like the one we're having today. And I have to pay attention to them, everything, right? So it was crazy. It was absolutely insane. But that was me being busy just to be busy so that I don't think about my problems. I don't think about how I'm feeling, all of those things. And it did not help. It was a temporary fix. And right after, when it was coming to the end, I was burnt out. I was completely tired. I could not function for my job. My boss was angry at me. University, I was performing really poorly when I was doing so well up to that point. And I wasn't paying attention on my live shows as well. I was losing interest. So trust me, don't be busy just to be busy. It's a temporary happiness. It is completely temporary happiness. If you want to go through it, try it, burn out, learn the hard way, and then get back up on your shoes. That's completely fine as well if you want to try it. But trust me, as someone who did it, don't do it. Please focus on what works for you, and you don't have to do everything at once. Pace yourself, completely pace yourself.
Yeah, so also I we with this pandemic, I mean, I'm just talking about the pandemic because with this situation I've been like at times I've been like absolutely busy with classes and then interact stuff and everything, and then again when there is free time, then I start thinking about stuff. So yeah, like as you, even I tried that being busy at a stretch. I mean, not live sessions, but I used to like, I opened Instagram page which is like all about memes and stuff. I keep posting, I find memes and keep posting. So which kept me busy for some time, but at the same time, as you told, that's just temporary. And then when you're enough, when you have had enough of that, and later on you feel okay, I can't do that anymore, then again it hits your head.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
Also, like with the pandemic, I mean, for many people, their sleeping patterns have changed. Even for me, honestly, I mean, sleeping patterns with the pandemic and before pandemic, it's like two different things. So, do you think this? I mean, does this affect anxiety?
Oh man, absolutely. So ever since the pandemic, until I moved to my friend's house in August. So I moved to my friend's house in August and I lived there for 4 months. That's where I started to get better, and I took a break from social media and all of those things. But when the pandemic first started, man, because I did the live shows, I slept at about 3 o'clock in the night. No, actually sometimes like 3, 4 o'clock in the night, and I woke up at like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It is extremely unhealthy. Do not do it. It does add to your anxiety, because when you wake up late, you're just like, oh my god, half my day is gone. That means I have less time to do it. And then when night comes, us though, as soon as night comes, we're like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll study tomorrow, it's fine. Like, it's already late. And then we'll be on our phones till like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then that's also gone. So it's just, as humans, we are wired that way. Like, it is nothing wrong. Trust me, I do it as well. So many times I'm just like, oh, look at the time, it's 9 o'clock, now it's too late to study. I'll just stay up till 4 o'clock and then wake up at 12 o'clock and then study for an hour. And then that's how anxiety levels reach its peak, because you are procrastinating at a level, right? So I would really say try and fix your sleep schedules as best as you possibly can. I know it's difficult. Sometimes you can't sleep. Sometimes you just cannot. But sometimes it's just turning off your phone, turning off all of your devices, listening to like really calming music like rain, or even like sounds of rain or sounds of waves or something like that. Try different things that will help you sleep, because you are absolutely right, Sad. It does peak your anxiety. It does peak your procrastination. All of those things happen because your sleep schedule is so messed up. But yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Like when we talk about sleeping and everything these days, especially, I have friends and everyone, the whole daytime is like, you don't meet friends, but you have classes, online classes and everything. Like when it comes to a physical way, if there was, I mean, before the pandemic, you meet your friends so that during class you can just talk, or after class you can meet them. So with this situation, you can't meet your friends, you can't talk to your friends, and then classes also, it's like one after the other. So end of the day, the time you get to speak to your friends is the night. So most of the people like they stay overnight just talking to their friends, and they wake up early in the morning, and you're completely lost, because that has happened to me when I've been talking to some of my friends, and then the next day when I have classes, I'm like, what's going on? So hey, what do you think about
Oh man,
like
this is so true, because like sometimes I used to, so house party was like all the buzz when Corona first happened. So I downloaded a house party, dude. I was on house party talking to my friends till like 3 o'clock in the morning, man, because that's the only time that would work for all of us, right?
Yeah.
And I'm part of this company now that hosts like game nights and all those things, and it's all Sri Lankan time. So sometimes I'm up till 4 o'clock in the morning playing Among Us. It's insane. But no, honestly, I try and limit that as much as possible. But having contact with friends is very important. Like for me, my friends are my family as well. Because I was never close to my real family, my friends are my close family. So what I try and do is at least have like a fortnightly or a weekly catch up with them, as best as I possibly can. Because the thing is, we all have to do what we're doing right now, right? We all have to study, we all have to work, we all have to do these things in order to get to a position that we're happy in life. So our friends, if they are actually like our real friends, will always be there for us. Will always be there for us. So just don't think that you have to talk to them every single day, or else something will miss out or something like that. Always try and key up a time, maybe like on a Friday night. That means you can sleep late in on a Saturday. That's completely fine. Or like a Saturday night and have a chat with them. I know it's difficult, and I don't completely follow this advice either. I do talk to my friends sometimes at odd hours. But try and stick to that so that you do get your sleep in. Because if your friends are truly your friends, they will understand that you can't stay up too late as well. So.
Also, as a final level of question, there might be people who are today listening, and also when this video is also posted out, there might be people who is listening to this, but they might not have people to talk about this. They might not have good friends to talk. So what would be your advice towards them?
Oh yeah, man. Firstly, it's a two-step advice. So I'm just going to take my time with this one because it's very important. I completely understand having friends who don't support you. I've had those friends. I completely understand having family who doesn't support you. I've had that family. I completely understand being in relationships that don't support you either. I've been in those as well. When you are in those situations, you have two choices. Your first choice is, just because your friend circle is not supportive does not mean you stick with them. You have all the power to go and make new friends. You really do. Yes, it will be tricky. Maybe you all are in the same class, all of those things. But if you know your self-worth and you have enough respect for yourself, you will make new friends. There are 7 billion people on this planet. You can make new friends. But the thing is, if you are really, really stuck in that position, and you are really stuck in a position where you can't talk to anyone, like I mentioned earlier in this session, there are free organizations in Sri Lanka that you can talk to for counseling. It's not even therapy. It's just to go and get advice, or literally give out all of your feelings. There's Sumitrio, there's Shanti Maragam. Both of those are good, and they're free counseling services as well. There is always a way. It's just that sometimes we are too scared, too lazy, we just keep pushing it just for the sake of pushing it, because it's just a harder thing to do. But if you really respect yourself and you want to get out of it, you will get out of it. You will definitely pick up your phone and call Sumitri and be like, hey, I want to have a chat. I want to meet someone. And this is why I want to meet someone. So if you do have an unsupportive friend circle, try your best to make new friends. If you have an unsupportive family, work really, really hard so that you can make a life for yourself and you can move out and make a life for yourself. But always look after your family. Always. One day when you make the money you want to make and you are in that position, always help your family members after you leave or whatever you do. Because even though they say, even they push you to study or bully you about comparing you with your friends and you're not doing enough, the words that they use are hurtful, but they mean it in a positive way, because they want you to be happy. So in their mind, if you are successful and you have money, you are happy, right? So you sometimes in the South Asian context, since we're so financially dependent on our family and on our parents, we just have to grit our teeth a bit, take that hit, and just work really hard so that we're in a position so that we can move out, do what we love, and then help our parents in return. So there's always options. You can either find new friends, or you can go and get support services outside. There's always an option. It's just that you have to make the decision to do so.
So yeah, I guess today was like, the first segment which we spoke about anxiety, which was like really clear, and I learned a lot today. Because,
I'm glad.
Yeah, so everyone here today would have at least got one small point which is worth it for your life. And this video, when this goes out, there might be more people who learns out of it. So thank you so much, Sharan, for being with us and helping us get with this project and the topic for today. So yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah. Anytime. Can I just say, sorry to cut you off, but I just want to say, Saad, you did a great job, man. Good job moderating. And thank you for sharing your thoughts as well, because sometimes a lot of students are shy to share their thoughts. But thank you for sharing your thoughts as well. And thank you to all the Interact clubs and the people here for listening to me. Some of you might not even know me. And if you ever want to get in touch and get these resources, I don't make money promoting these resources. I really don't. I wish I did, but I don't. But so if you need any information regarding resources or any advice, just feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to help.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
No stress, man.
See you. Bye.
All right. See you guys. Bye.